Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Hope everybody's having a good day. Hope you had a good weekend. Really nice here in Maine today. Really sunny out and everything. And hopefully the weather stays this way for at least a couple of days, because the last 2 or 3 days it's been sort of gloomy around here. But hopefully we can get some respite from that. Lots of road work being done around town around here. I'll tell you, I guess potholes and everything. There's a lot. I mean, even in my parking lot. Geez, my parking lot. I mean, it's got some huge holes in them in the parking lot. And I'm like, God, are they ever going to bury these things or something? I mean, I feel like going out to Home Depot and getting some gravel or something and filling the holes in myself, because they're huge, they're big, and they're deep. You know, it's like, Christ, you could lose a whole tire. And the maintenance people, I guess they just don't go around enough and check things, to see how they are. I mean, I know this roof needs some work, but geez, I wish they'd come around and do something at least with the parking lot, because you don't need to really have good weather for to do work on that. So, as far as that goes, I mean, I think a lot of places in Bangor are looking at that, fixing those things. So, anyway, some details have come out today during the hush money trial against Trump, and since the media doesn't want to air any of the trial on television, keeping us all in the fucking dark, as it were. We're all kind of grasping at what's going on each day as this thing goes on. So here's an article from Blast, written by Favor Adagoke, and it's entitled "Melania Trump is not happy hearing new details in husband's hush money trial, ex-aide claims." Okay, so Melania Trump's former aide, Stephanie Grisham, has given her 2 cents on the latest development emerging from Donald Trump's New York hush money trial. Grisham said that Melania is not happy about the new details recently shared in the trial, claiming that as her former aide, she was also not in the know of them. The former press secretary during the Trump administration sat down with CNN's Aaron Burnett for a chat. During the conversation, she revealed that Melania is closely following her husband's hush money trial and is not happy with the new revelations that have come to light. Quote, "The fact that Trump asked about her in the White House, the fact that some White House staff got on the phone with David Pecker to talk about keeping this secret even further, those were new details to me, and so I know they were new details to Melania, and I'm sure she's not happy about it," unquote, Grisham shared per The Hill. Quote, "Now, make no mistake, she's not sitting at home, crying over this, but like any married woman or woman in a relationship, it's not fun to hear these details," unquote, Grisham added. It comes after former magazine executive David Pecker shared new details with jurors about former adult film star Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal, who both alleged that they had an affair with Trump. Pecker discussed his role in killing stories about McDougal and Trump, noting that the billionaire politician was worried that they would make their way back to his wife. He also reportedly notified Trump about Daniels' intentions to sell a story about a sexual encounter with the billionaire. Pecker has since made several other revelations in court, including churning out negative stories about Trump's political opponents at the time, including Hillary Clinton and Trump's former lawyer Michael Cohen being, quote, under pressure, unquote, to, quote, bury, unquote, stories that could mar his campaign. Trump is presently on trial for allegedly falsifying company records to cover up a payment to Daniels in a bid to buy her silence over an alleged affair. In court yesterday, the former president decried how his trial had prevented him from spending time with his wife on her birthday. An opportunity to celebrate her publicly would later present itself when Trump addressed reporters outside the court, also stating that the case was a quote-unquote rigged trial. Quote, I want to start by wishing my wife, Melania, a very happy birthday, unquote. Trump told reporters, quote, it would be very nice to be with her, but I'm in a courthouse for a rigged trial, unquote. Trump's message to Melania was criticized online for being awkward due to the circumstances surrounding why he couldn't be with her full-time on her birthday. So, as this thing goes on, his wife's watching, and shit's coming out. Do you think that matters to Trump? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if it mattered, he wouldn't have fucked around on his wife in the first place, right? So, here's a guy, right, who, has a woman that other guys would probably kill for to have, and he takes, somebody, like Melania and ruins her, because a guy like that has no control over himself. I mean, he's his worst enemy. It's not enough that he has a wife. He's got to have everybody else's wives. He's got to have every other woman that's out there that he has a hard on for. I mean, that's what this guy is. I mean, he was raised to get everything he wanted, spoiled rotten. Okay, that's what Trump is, and on top of that, he's got a mental problem. All right, he's got an ego that's out of control, and he narcissist. Yeah, you better believe it. And everything is about him. Selfish. I mean, when you're spoiled and you got that, I mean, you can't undo that. And how old is he now? I mean, Christ, at his age, you can't change that. It's an old dog. So to tell me that this guy is neck and neck with the president on, the election race, what are you smoking? Okay, that's my question to the press. What are you guys smoking over there, okay? You and I both know this guy is not looked at in any fucking way as an equal to Joe Biden, okay? Who's the one that's in court every fucking day? Who's the one that's got 80 some odd fucking charges to answer for crimes he committed? It's not Joe Biden, okay? It ain't Joe Biden, it's Donald Trump. And Bill Barr has the balls to get on TV and say that he'd still vote for Trump, even though he doesn't like Trump. He'd still vote for Trump because Biden would do more damage to the country than Trump would. Again, what are you smoking, Barr? Jesus. This Barr is the reason why, Trump, or actually Barr is an example of the kind of people Trump would hire, because they're idiots, they're sycophants to the end. As long as he's got an R next to his name, Bill Barr will vote for him, okay? That's what Barr is saying, okay? He's a glutton. He's a glutton for punishment, like a lot of these maggots out there, okay? They think just like Barr does. It don't fucking matter if your candidate is a crime lord. It doesn't fucking matter if he's the devil in disguise. He's got an R next to his name. That's all that matters. We got to have an R in the White House so we can undo the entire country. We can destroy it from within. Okay, Trump is the guy. They can control him. Really, you think you can control that maniac? How many of you motherfuckers thought that, you know, the first time he was president, and how many of you are sitting in prison right now for him? He's not going to exonerate you. You know what I'm saying? All these, how about the January 6th rioters? How many of you people has he come to that's pardon you or try to help you out any? None. He threw you all under the bus. You're in there for your stay. Okay, he ain't gonna help you out. So you know, to think that he's a safe bet, you're a fucking nut. You're a voter that really doesn't deserve the honor and the privilege to vote as an American because you're reckless. All right, you're in there to try to destroy the country through your vote instead of helping it. You're in there thinking of yourself, your party. Okay, this voting is not about your party loyalty. In fact, I disdain parties at all. I wish there were no parties. I wish people could just run for office as they are. Okay, get rid of the party system. All right, there should not be any Democrats, Republicans, Independents. There shouldn't be any parties at all, because I think that is a part of the root of why, you know, it slows things down in our government. We need to get rid of that shit. Okay, we need to get rid of that. People should stand for who they are, not for what for what party they're with. Okay. So you know, like I said, as with Melania here, you know, having, you know, as her assistant, her former assistant, saying is a very difficult time. Well, yeah, it should be difficult for her because she's been married to that bastard for all this time. Okay, you can't tell me she didn't know something was going on with him. You know, the cheating and all that. I bet she didn't even. I bet she knew he was cheating on her in the first place. I bet she knew at some point that, you know, there were other women. Okay, secrets. You know, if everybody else and outside of the house knew what he was up to, I mean, I'm sure it must have bled in there at some point, and she knows, okay? She knows. But to have it aired publicly like that, you know, I mean, that's what she doesn't like, I think, is what pisses her off the most, is the fact that, you know, this shit comes out, it's all over the news, it's her private life, it's her dirty laundry, it's the skeleton in their closet. They don't want that coming out, even if it's just a marital issue, okay? She's trying to go around to project this perfect kind of thing when it's really anything but. Their marriage is a fraud, okay? It's I wouldn't even call it a marriage. I mean, she should just leave him. She'd be better off anyway, okay? Because his fucking legacy is going to be for crap now after he's dead and buried. I don't care how this trial and all this shit turns out. His name is mud in this country. Why does she want to associate herself with that? Why does she want to have her legacy tied to his? Do the smart thing and get the fuck out of that marriage and just go. I mean, he'll just pick up a porn star somewhere and run with that. And there's all kinds of porn stars that would fall through their knees in front of him at the drop of a hat. I mean, believe me, the money that he'd give them is enough to tempt them. Okay, that's the kind of woman he wants. You know, he doesn't want an intelligent woman, you know, with any class. No, that's not what he wants. Melania is just a front, a picture. Okay, it's like when the kings and queens, you know, all that, and they have mistresses and stuff like that in the background. The mistress is what they want, but they can't have that one because you got to put on you have to project an image. So they get the better look, the better one in front. But all the while, they're in the background screwing the other one. Okay? That's what Trump's like. Melania is just for show. Okay? Stormy Daniels, McDougal, all these other ones are the people that he wanted all the stuff, you know, sex with and everything like that. That's what he is. Okay? He's got the money. He can have what he wants, essentially. And they're happy to oblige him. And in a way, you know, I don't really, you know, well, you know, I'm not even going to go there because that would just stir up more shit. But here's the thing. You know, Trump's character here is ruined, okay? But I don't think it's as ruined as it should be, like it would be if this was happening like 30, 40 years ago. You know, if all this stuff came out about Trump. Of course, he wouldn't have been a political figure back then. But you know, I don't think it really would have shocked anybody because people expected the worst out of him back then anyway. He wasn't a very good businessman. You know, he flunked in a lot of things. So it's just, you know, it would just be more of the same, you know, drama that comes out of that family. Okay. But because now he's got a political hat on, MAGA, okay, now that he's got a political hat on, that changes the narrative. It changes people's perception of him, okay? And, you know, I kind of sit back and wonder, well, why is that? I mean, are we so political in this country that we could actually, like Ted Bundy, let's grab Ted Bundy here, okay? A guy that, for all accounts, was attractive, according to what women said, you know, about him. Smart, very smart guy. He was in college. He ran on a Republican ticket, or no, he didn't run but he's campaigned for someone who was a Republican. He was a Republican himself. Okay, sort of had the political interest at the time. He never really got to go deep into that, but he sort of had an interest in politics, I guess, and conservative politics. Okay, and he certainly knew how to carry himself in front of the camera. Okay. Even the press said that. I mean, to look at the guy, the way he acted and all that, you'd never imagine that he was capable of the shit that he got caught doing, okay? But he's a Republican. Now, back then, I don't think a lot of Republicans would have accepted that in their party. Today, I got to question that now. I got to wonder if Trump was like a Ted Bundy, that all of a sudden they found out that he had bodies buried, that he molested, like little girls or something, and they were finding bodies in you know, where he lives in Mar-a-Lago there. You know, would that change? Would that change people's perception in the MAGA movement? Would that? Okay. And they had all the evidence that where all the dominoes fell right to Trump. Okay, if they had all the evidence to prove that he did it, would that fucking matter to them? I got a hard time believing that MAGA today would turn their back on him, even if they knew he was that way. Okay. And that's kind of scary. I mean, that's my opinion. That, you know, that's how I'm looking at things. I don't know how you would look at that, or somebody else would look at that. But I really have my doubts today that the Republican Party could be trusted to select leaders that are not criminals to be in their party. That's because they're so desperate to maintain their foothold in government, because right now their policies do not energize the majority of this country. A lot of people are really pissed off with them, especially with the abortion issue. Okay, a lot of people are totally against them, and they're slipping. You know, they don't have the majority of the country on their side anymore, and even their party's falling apart. You know, all that's left in it are these circus clowns and these cultists. That's all that's left in it now. You know, and I feel like, well, we can't just say, oh, well, they're not influential anymore. Bullshit. Because in Germany, look what a cultist movement did to Germany back in 1938. I mean, look, it's just, you can't just dismiss the minority because they're minority opinions, okay? You can't just dismiss them on that. They have to be heard. But at the same time, you got to watch out, because sometimes if they don't get their way, they get rough, they get violent, they get vengeful, okay? They'll do things to trip up the other side. And that's what they've been doing, because they can't win elections on what they believe in or what they want to do. I mean, look, the justices in the Supreme Court that are Republican, every single one of them lied under oath about the abortion issue. They said they wouldn't touch it. They would not. Roe versus Wade would stay as it is. And what was the fucking first thing they did once they got put in and given their chair in the Supreme Court? They went and overturned it. They fucking lied about that. In my opinion, that should have been grounds to remove every single one of them from their seats, because, hey, you just said under oath, you committed perjury in front of the people who question you, that you said you weren't going to touch that, and you did. You fucking did. And it was in the same goddamn year that they, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it was, you know, what I'm saying, they'll do what they have to do to get what they want, even if it means stepping on the Bible, even if it means lying, cheating, stealing, whatever it takes. They're going to stay in power because they don't trust the voter. They don't trust the election anymore because they know their ideas don't sell. They're so old-fashioned. They keep reaching into the past all the time to justify the things they rule on now. That's what they do in the Supreme Court. They go all the way back to the Civil War era. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, you're talking about raising a dead horse, for Christ's sake, an issue that was already dealt with and decided on. And now you want to bring it back up as, oh, we need to debate that all over again? You know, fuck that. You know, the country has to evolve. We don't need to devolve, okay? We need to continue to move forward as we have been, because society changes. The world changes every day. Even the most backward dictatorial countries out there know this, all right? That's why fights are always happening in those parts of the world, because the people want to move forward and the governments won't let it happen. They just keep pushing them back. Well, that's what they're going to create here in this country. As our society in America wants to move forward, the Republicans are going to be there to continually push us back, to build walls in front of us so we can't get over them. That's what they want to do. They don't want us to step into the 21st century or to leave the 20th century behind. They want to continue with what they've been doing, okay, which has been to bring religious, whatever, dogma, or whatever the hell you want to call it, into the mix with politics, which is always a bad mixture, okay? You can't run a country like that, okay? You just can't. It's bad. It's bad business. It's bad politics when you start injecting that in there. You create this cultist fever in the government, which is what's happened right now with the Republican Party. It's not even a party anymore, a politics. It's cultists, okay, that want things their way, and they don't want to hear the other side. They don't want to hear the shades of gray in every argument that's brought before them. They don't want to hear that. It's their way or the highway. That's what they want.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This
is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
For 4 long years, Donald Trump disgraced America, laughing with mass-murdering dictators, Vladimir Putin's puppet.
You know, the people of Crimea, from what I've heard, would rather be with Russia than where they were.
The world laughed at us.
You know, Hezbollah is very smart. They're all very smart.
No more.
The people of this nation have spoken. At this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.
Today, America once again leads the free world. A respected leader, steady, determined, who knows America is great because America is good.
We stand with Israel. Today, tomorrow, as we always have.
Under President Biden, our friends are stronger, our enemies weaker.
This is not about party or politics. This is about the security of the United States of America.
A strong economy at home a respected America abroad. President Joe Biden, an American president.
Infrastructure. Nobody can do that like me. The infrastructure is very easy. And infrastructure will get that done easily. We are going to put up one of the big and great infrastructure bills of all time. We call it Infrastructure Week.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Okay, you want to hear something that's really funny? Another story from Blast. A GoFundMe thing has been launched for Donald Trump, who has I know, laugh. He's lost steam after 2 months and stalls at $2 million. Written by the same individual as the last one. Okay, it says a GoFundMe campaign launched for former Donald Trump to pay his $355 million fine from his New York civil fraud case has slowed significantly since reaching the $2 million milestone. The funds will reportedly be used for Trump's defense in the New York civil fraud case, its appeal, and any associated expenses, unquote. Trump recently posted a $175 million bond to halt the enforcement of the judgment while he appeals the verdict. Earlier this year, Trump was fined $355 million as part of a civil fraud case ruling around that time. A diehard MAGA supporter launched a GoFundMe to help the former president raise the funds to pay the fine. After that page was opened, donations quickly poured in, reaching $1 million within a week. While this rapid progression seemed to have suggested that a significant amount of money would be raised in no time, that now seems unlikely. As of now, the fundraiser has stalled just after hitting the $2 million mark thanks to nearly 40,000 MAGA donors, with only a few donations coming in recent days. It is unclear for how long the page will remain open to continue raising funds. However, a recent update from the organizer, Elena Cardone, emphasized that the funds would be used for Trump's defense in the New York civil fraud case, its appeal, and any associated expenses. In a recent update, Elena, the wife of multi-millionaire real estate mogul Grant Cardone, revealed that she will be transferring any cash raised to the Patriot Defense Fund to be used for Trump's defense. She wrote, quote, "We're thrilled to share the incredible milestone of raising $2 million. The funds we have raised together will be delivered to the Patriot Legal Defense Fund and will solely be used for President Trump's defense in the New York civil fraud case, its appeal, and any associated expenses," unquote. Although Trump never publicly acknowledged the existence of the GoFundMe, Elena claimed in a previous update that she was in contact with Trump's team to ensure the ex-president accepted the cash raised. Judge Arthur Engoron, the presiding judge over the civil fraud case, fined the former president a jaw-dropping amount for inflating his assets while building his real estate empire. As part of his 92-page ruling, he also barred Trump from taking on any director or officer role in corporations within New York or seeking loans from financial institutions within the state. He stated that the ban would last for 3 years. Trump's son, Donald Jr. and Eric, were also fined $4 million for helping their father commit the fraud. Like him, they were barred from taking up positions in New York-based organizations. However, the time limit was restricted to 2 years. Trump's lawyers, who vowed to appeal the verdict, filed notice in late February to begin the process. In the filing, they wrote to the appellate court to review whether Engoron, quote, committed errors of law and or fact, unquote, and if he misused his discretion or, quote, acted in excess, unquote, of his jurisdiction. Quote, "We trust that the appellate division will overturn this egregious fine and take the necessary steps to restore the public faith in New York's legal system," unquote, Trump attorney Alina Habba told the press on NBC. Meanwhile, after the verdict, Trump slammed it as an, quote, un-American judgment, unquote, and said it was a case of, quote, election interference, unquote, and, quote, witching hunting, unquote. At the time, he had also claimed that Engoron was, quote, crooked, unquote, and described the Attorney General, Letitia James, who brought the case, as corrupt. So, talk about suckers, okay? People giving a rich man money to pay for his fucking, lawyer fees and whatever, okay? And this is what they got 40,000 people to donate $50 a person, I think is what it comes out to, I guess. Only 40,000 people. I thought the MAGA movement was bigger than that. I don't know. It seemed to me like, are we talking 40,000 regular MAGAs or just 40,000 wealthy people who donated some money and all they could come up with was $2 million? I mean, it depends on how you want to look at this as to, how this reads to the rest of us, okay? And the one thing here is that it doesn't seem like it has sunk in yet with these 40,000 donors what Trump is. Okay, they still think that he's a victim. Like it or not, they're looking at him as the victim. Okay, they believe what he says, that he was cheated out of an election. 40,000 people. Okay, and I just remember what I'd always say that I could get 100 people to agree with everything I say. When you take that 100 and you multiply it to 40,000, that's kind of staggering in itself that one person could get 40,000 people to believe bullshit. Okay? If that's not a sign of a person who's gifted at fooling people, I don't know what the hell is. P.T. Barnum has nothing on this guy. Okay? I mean, I feel like, you know, there's got to be an answer here somewhere as to the kind of mentality. I mean, these 40,000 people ought to be interviewed, okay, psychoanalyzed, and find out, you know, why is it you're willing to take, you know, so much of your money, okay, or just whatever you have in pocket, give it to this guy who doesn't need it. He's going to take that $2 million and blow it on some hooker or something like that, or whatever, some party. If you think he's going to use it for his legal fees, you're crazy. You're crazy. That money's going to just disappear, and you'll never find out where that went. All right. Because believe me, what he's going to have to pay to get his ass free, because he's got other trials coming up and stuff. What he's going to end up paying is going to be way more than $2 million fucking dollars. Okay, I mean, that's nothing. You're wasting web page. You're wasting, you know, you're wasting your time making GoFundMe pages to help him out. Okay, you can't come up with enough money that's going to cover his ass. All right, $2 million is nothing these days, really. You can spend that overnight in one phone call. But, you know, to think that, you know, still there's people out there willing to put that kind of money aside for him, you know, I don't know. These 40,000 people got people that listen to them. So how many of those fucking people can, you know, do they sway? I mean, there's a difference between people that'll donate money like that and just plain supporters, people who will vote and support for Trump, okay? So you get these crazy supporters out there that are donating money to him, and then they go around telling other people to, oh, Trump's good and Trump's this and that and everything, and to get them to vote for him. I mean, hey, that creates, you know, it creates a movement there, all right? You see what I'm saying? And, you know, it's sad that in this day and age, you know, a guy as corrupt as Donald Trump and as evil as some would say as Donald Trump could find solace even at this point in his life where, you know, the roosters are coming home, you know, to roost, you know, that he can depend on people out there that still love him and still support him to give their last buck to this guy if he asked them for it, okay? It goes to my thought about where we are as a society. I mean, in American society, okay? Because I can't really speak to other countries and what's going on in their countries and stuff. But as an American looking at a snapshot of our country right now, it's sad. It really is sad. And, you know, whenever you have corruption like this in politics, from, you know, whether it's a president that's still in power or a former president, when you hear the story come out about this person and all the details come out and how deep the corruption went and all that, you shake your head because you think, geez, all those years, you know, this stuff was going on and we didn't know about it. And where was the checks and balances to stop it from continuing at the time? Because it didn't end until he was voted out of office. It was thrown in our laps as voters to do something about this guy, instead of the justice system doing what it had to do to get rid of him. I mean, I know they tried to impeach him while he was in there, but they couldn't touch him. You see, they couldn't touch him because the system just wasn't strong enough to hold a man like that accountable in the position as president, okay? And now people are out there saying, oh, well, the system is too strict on a president. He needs to have absolute fucking immunity. You know, kiss my ass. Because the fact that the system couldn't touch Trump, okay, is the reason why he was able to do that he had all the things that he'd done in those 4 years, okay? That was the reason. The justice system, be damned, it wasn't there for us when it should have been. There's supposed to be the checks and balances to make sure that our officials are acting inside the boundaries of the fucking law, okay? And he was doing everything but. You know, and it didn't dawn on us until January the 6th when hell erupted over there in Washington, D.C., just how corrupt this guy was. That was a slap in the face to wake us up. You know, it's like, it's not enough that you voted him out of office, okay? Look what he's doing now, okay? This is what, you know, a spoiled brat does when he can't get his way, okay? When does this ever happen in the history of this country with the president having to have to been voted out? Jimmy Carter had one term in office. Did you see the Democrats rioting on the fucking White House lawn, okay, when he lost to Ronald Reagan? I mean, we should have. I mean, in Christ, you know, what we ended up with for a president after him was a fucking nightmare. But the thing of it is that a peaceful transition of power was expected then, as it was, you know, under Trump, and it didn't happen because the sycophants that supported Trump were cultists. They didn't see Trump as a politician. They saw him as the second coming, for Christ's sake. You know, this is the problem you have now in our government. It's gotten out of control. Too much emphasis on the populism of the individual has been put on these individuals. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Too much of that. You know, it's we vote for people that make us laugh, that, you know, that they do something that, you know, tongue-in-cheek or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We don't look at the person as intelligent or anything like that, okay? You see, Joe Biden ranks up there as the kind of person we would consider for being president, okay? Because he doesn't come with all that baggage that Trump has. And I think we regretted, you know, in that election where Trump got in office, we regret now this country having said, well, we need to think outside the box for our next president. We need to get somebody that's not in the establishment. And what happened when we started thinking that way? Establishment woke up, and they said, we got to get somebody in there in the establishment that's going to talk and speak for us. And what do we end up with? Trump. We got the most rooted, established person, you know, in the system that everybody was hating at the time. But they didn't realize that because he sold himself as, oh, I'm an outside of the box thinker. Jesus Christ, you know, and they sucked that up, you know. Oh, because he was a TV celebrity. We saw him doing The Apprentice or whatever the hell it was that he was doing on TV. Okay, that's all they knew about this guy. None of them remembered all the shit that happened years back. Okay, about this guy. Okay. Whoever was popular. Hillary Clinton wasn't popular. I mean, she'd been in the system too long, you know, as a politician, and she had a lot of baggage with her when she was running, okay, that was still fresh in people's minds. Okay, she wasn't going to win. Plus, the Democrat primary was a disaster. And, you know, all that happened at the worst possible time when we had a guy everybody took for granted that Hillary was going to beat him no matter what. Now, everything that happened, you know, you would think that history would have been more forgiving, but no. You see, you know, it's sad how that all ended up. But, you know, the Democrats shot themselves in the foot is what happened. And that's how Trump got in there. That's how Trump got in there, was that. If Democrats had played it cool and clean through that thing, Trump wouldn't have won. But so he did. We have 4 years of evidence, of proof that this guy is unfit to be a president. And if people want to ask themselves the question, are we better off now than we were 4 years ago? All you got to do is, hey, go back into the news articles of when Trump was president. Go review history. Do yourself a favor and read some history, for Christ's sake, before you answer that question. What was going on in this country when Trump was president? What the hell was going on in this country? You know, think about that. He was given a good economy when he got into office. Okay? He had a good economy to run on. He didn't have any problems except for COVID that happened under his presidency. You know, there was jobs, all kinds of people were working. Okay, but while he was there, the people started losing jobs. A big chunk of the country was losing jobs. The economy started to sink. And then when COVID come around, he totally botched that. You know, and the things that he was saying along the way, how he was stirring up shit with other countries. You know, he snubbed Australia's prime minister. You know, he was, you know, pissing off Canada. You know, and you know, he was just being a general jerk to other people who, you know, would have expected that, you know, if you were in my country, we would treat you better. He didn't do that, okay? And, you know, he was riling up the bigots and getting them going and stuff and saying some pretty nasty shit, okay? And it was just, but, you know, it was the COVID affair that really put the nail in his coffin, because, you know, over 1 million people died in this country under his watch. Okay, that didn't have to, really. I mean, if he'd have spent less time fighting with the CDC director, okay, instead, you know, I think things would have ended up better. But, you know, he was going after the throat of people who were trying to help us out, because he didn't want to have this thing under his, you know, he didn't want people to see that this was real. No, it's a hoax. Everything's a hoax. The Democrats are trying to destroy me. That's what he was saying. And the fact that he was saying these lies on air in front of people scared the hell out of all of us with common sense, saying, you know, this guy's a fanatic. You know, he's dangerous. You know, why do we give him the keys to the fucking football here to, you know, launch news? We don't want this guy here. And then when he come out and we find out all this other stuff, I mean, that was just like, it justified everything we thought about him before his term was over as president. That we find all this stuff, taking secret documents and putting them in his bathroom and at home, you know, and, you know, video of him actually walking out of the White House with boxes of shit to a U-Haul. Christ. I mean, he didn't even try to hide it. You know, I guess he felt like, well, if it's in boxes, no one's ever going to ask. Well, yeah, we did ask, because no other president ever did that. You know, they didn't walk out of there with boxes after boxes, you know, classified data. What the hell was that? You know, so, you know, he says, no, I didn't have, that wasn't, I didn't take it. And then he changed, says, yeah, I did take it, but it was all declassified. And you know what, well, I'm president. I can declassify whatever the hell I want. He kept changing the fucking excuse as the investigators kept digging in their heels on him. Okay? So you know he did wrong, and he was trying to cover it up. It's like any other guy you would see on a crime story that murdered his wife, and he's trying to come up with all kinds of reasons why he didn't do it, you know, until they finally get it out of him that he did do it, okay? That's what you got to do with a guy like Trump. You got to keep pressuring him. You got to keep questioning him. You got to keep throwing in his face the obvious until he finally breaks and says, yeah, okay, I knew it was classified data, and I stole it, okay? That's what you do with a guy like that. But no, see, the justice system failed. They didn't do that. Okay? And that's why I say, you know, because our system is broken, our justice system, there's no checks and balances. You know, after Joe Biden isn't president anymore and we get another person in there, are we really going to be able to trust that person to act responsibly, to act in our best interests and not to break the law? How are we going to know? If they can lie to us and nobody holds them accountable. Earlier today, somebody was talking about the press, how the press today is really mild. They don't press an individual when they interview them for the truth. When the person spits a lie at them, they don't say, oh, you're lying to me, tell me the truth. You know, the interviewers are too light these days. They just let the lie go and lay. All right? They don't challenge people when they're interviewed for the truth. When they got the truth in their hand, the quote in their hand, and they ask him and he lies, they don't say, well, that's not what you said. Okay, they're too afraid to push the issue. You know, they used to do that, like 60 Minutes. I mean, they used to go after people like that, you know, and they'd get right in their face with it. We don't have any hard-hitting journalists anymore that'll do that shit. I don't know why. What's happened to the media in this country? I mean, we depend on them to get our information from, and if they don't get our information that we need to make the right choices, what have we got left to look at? People today look at comedians now to get the truth from, because comedians, the best kind of comedy is always going to be tainted with facts, with truth, okay? And if we have to look to, like, you know, these nighttime comedians who tell jokes, political jokes, in order for us to get our information from, then our press has really failed us in this country. We've got to do something about that. We really, really need to do something about that. And we need to shut down a lot of these other fucking news outlets, okay, on the internet that aren't giving us news, but just giving us fucking bullshit on top of bullshit. All right, because too many people, especially the kids in college that are out protesting, getting their information from some pretty bad people out there, from what I understand. Okay, some really questionable sources, and they're making bad decisions on what they're doing. And unfortunately, for a lot of them, you know, this is not going to end good for them in the end. And there'll probably be arrests and beatings and shit like that. Who knows? Okay. All right, so that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Please subscribe and comment, so that way you know when I get when I put another video up here. And treat each other nice. Just remember that everybody has issues. Everybody has a different personality. Not everybody's going to agree with everything, but it's okay to disagree, and it's usually better to avoid a fight than to charge into one. Don't be the fool that charges into one. And I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.